What is going on, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. And today we have the Week 7 preview for the NFL. The season's flying by so fast. I hope you guys have been enjoying these videos every week. I have some new, different content coming out soon. It feels, I don't want to say stale, like making these, but I feel like I need to spice up my channel a little bit, upload some different content. So I have a good video in the works. It should be out sometime this week. Hopefully, it's got a lot of production going into it, so just a little teaser for that. You guys should be. I think you guys will like the video. I think it's good. I'm putting a lot of effort into it. So the Thursday night game for this week was the Giants at the Eagles. It was a good game. It wasn't anything too fancy, but it was a lot more entertaining than I thought it would be, as a lot of the Thursday night games have been so far this year. But it was a pretty good game. I just wanted to touch on that. Philadelphia won 22-21. Very close game, obviously. Daniel Jones fumbling on the potential game-winning drive. What's new? So the bye weeks for this week are the Indianapolis Colts, the Miami Dolphins, the Minnesota Vikings, and the Baltimore Ravens. The Steelers would have been playing the Ravens, but after the whole switch-up with the Titans game, the Ravens have this bye week, and the Steelers play the Ravens next week. And so the first game we're going to get into right here, right away, is the Detroit Lions at the Atlanta Falcons. This should be a fairly uneventful game. I'm not really sure who's going to win this, to be honest. I feel like Atlanta might squeeze one out here, but Detroit is kind of a better team. So I guess I'm going to go with Detroit. It's not really an interesting game, in my opinion, but, not to offend the fans of either of those teams, but I'll go Detroit for this one. So the next game is the Browns at the Bengals, part 2 this time. Their last game was on Thursday Night Football in like week 2 or 3. It was a good game, so I'm actually really excited for this one. Really excited is probably a little much. I'm interested to see how it's going, but that's more as a Steelers fan. I just want to see what's going on in our division rather than it being a genuinely really good game. I think the Browns are going to win because they're coming off a huge loss against the Steelers. It's just they're going to want some vengeance there, and I just don't know if the Bengals are going to be able to hold it against them. So I have the Browns winning this one. But I think the Bengals might put up a good enough fight because they did put up a lot of points against the Colts last week. So that's something to note. So the next game, arguably the most intriguing, I would say easily the most intriguing, especially as a Steelers fan, is the Pittsburgh Steelers at the Tennessee Titans. And so these are the last two undefeated teams in the AFC. And it said, I remember reading somewhere, it said it was the first time in 5 years that there's a meeting between two 5-0 or better teams. So that's neat. And then it also said something like since like 2000, the winner of the games between teams that are more than 5-0, the winner of that game has gone on to the Super Bowl. So that's something to note. I feel like that's definitely more of a coincidence, although, teams that have early momentum sometimes usually do go the distance, but who knows? So we'll have to see who wins this one. Personally, I have the Steelers, and you can call it bias, but honestly, I feel like we don't have as many holes as the Titans do. The Titans have been barely winning games. It's just, I feel like when they beat the Bills kind of beat themselves. Josh Allen was not really on his best game. And then they barely beat the Broncos in week 1. There's just a couple games that were winnable that they barely won. And then like the Bills game, I mean, I didn't have them winning, but they still barely won. It's Tennessee. I'm not saying that they're not going to be a playoff team. I think they'll definitely be a playoff team. I think they could even make like the AFC Championship. But personally, I see the Steelers as more of a Super Bowl caliber team at this point in the season. And if any defense can stop Derrick Henry, it's us, because we have the best run defense in the league. Anyone on our defense can blitz and be good against the run, especially our DBs, which is interesting. Not a lot of teams blitz their DBs as much as we do, but that's what happens in Blitzburg. So I have the Steelers winning in a pretty good battle. I think the Titans' defense will be good against Roethlisberger, but I just don't think the Titans' offense is going to be as good as ours will be in this game. So the next game is the Carolina Panthers at the New Orleans Saints. And so this game, I believe there was rumors that they were going to have to play this at LSU's stadium because of the hurricane that's hitting New Orleans soon. But the Mercedes-Benz Superdome is going to be okay, so they're going to play the game there. So I have New Orleans taking the win here. Carolina is a good team. Don't get me wrong. I just don't think they're a playoff team. And they lost to the Bears. And I'm not saying the Bears were a bad team either, but that was a winnable game for the Panthers, and they just didn't. And I just don't see them coming off that with enough momentum to pick up against the Saints. I believe Michael Thomas is still going to be out, and there's rumors of him possibly being traded, which is really crazy. But I think the Saints are going to be more on their game than the Panthers, and they're at home. I don't know if there's going to be any fans or not. I can't confirm that, so we'll just have to see where that goes. But I have the Saints winning that one. So the next game is the Bills at the Jets. Fairly simple here. I think the Bills are going to dominate the Jets. The Jets got shut out by the Dolphins last week. It's just, yeah, I mean, this shouldn't be very close. The Bills are going to win this one like they won the last one, so I have the Bills. The next game is the Cowboys at Washington Football Team. I think even with all the injuries to the Cowboys, I think they're still going to beat Football Team. I'm just not, I mean, unless Alex Smith all of a sudden is back to his former self, I don't see Washington getting many more wins this season. But it is really nice to see Alex Smith back in a uniform. But I just don't think this one's very competitive. I think Dallas is a better team, even though their defense kind of sucks. I still have Dallas winning. So this next game is the Packers at the Texans. And so the Texans are not the best team right now. They're really a shell of themselves from last year. I feel like they're going to be more of a high draft pick team this year than anyone would have thought they would have been. I thought they easily could have made playoffs, but it's a combination of the coaching and just kind of poor play all around. Their defense is not very good at all, with the exception of J.J. Watt, who's still having a down year, which really sucks to see for someone at his point in his career. But the Packers they're coming off a loss to the Buccaneers that probably shouldn't have happened. But I still have the Packers winning here. Aaron Rodgers is on fire this year still. One game is not going to change his status in the league right now. Everyone has bad games. And you're going to lose games in football. That's just how it goes. It's very unlikely that you're going to go fully undefeated. So I do have the Packers winning this one over the Texans. The Texans falling deeper into the seeding in the AFC. So the next game is the one that you're seeing on screen right now. It's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Las Vegas Raiders. So this is a real test for the Raiders. Even though I think they're still being overhated, they've beat the Saints and they beat the Chiefs. I mean, there's not a ton more for them to prove. And I think beating the Chiefs is the biggest statement because they beat them in Arrowhead. And I just think that they could arguably beat any team. It doesn't mean that they will every time because, again, you're going to lose games in football. But I have the Raiders winning here. I think the Buccaneers are going to go on a little bit of a losing streak. They just signed Antonio Brown. I don't still don't know how I feel about that. I might have to make that into a whole video talking about it. It's a whole thing to get into, but they don't have him yet. And the Buccaneers, they lost to the Bears, and the Bears are not as good as the Raiders. So I think the Raiders are going to squeeze one out here, especially at home. So I have the Raiders for this one. The next game is the Chiefs at the Broncos. Broncos with a huge upsetting at the Patriots last week because the Patriots had Cam back, but they still lost. I don't think the Broncos are good enough to beat the Chiefs, though. I'll tell you that much for free. I think the Chiefs are going to probably mow through them pretty easily and move up in the AFC seeding, but that's just how I feel about it. So the next game is the 49ers at the Patriots. So this one's a little more interesting because the Niners are coming off a pretty big win against the Rams, considering they were on a bit of a losing streak and just not being very impressive whatsoever. So it's interesting to call. And then the Patriots are coming off a loss to the Broncos, which was unexpected. So you have a team picking up steam again and a team coming off a loss after being, on a bad streak without Cam Newton, but they still lost with Cam Newton. It's hard to call, but I'm going to go with the 49ers winning here. I feel like the Patriots are going to be around 8-8 this year. I mean, if they play like they did last week, that's how it's going to be. And, I kind of predicted that the Patriots weren't going to do as well this year, but the early couple games changed my mind on that a bit. But I'm kind of easing back into that opinion that the Patriots are not going to be that great of a team by the end of the season. So we'll just have to see how that shapes up. That's a team I really don't know what we're going to get out of later on, so we'll have to see. So the next game is the Jacksonville Jaguars at the LA Chargers. So this game is another fairly uninteresting one, except for I love watching Justin Herbert. Before the season started, like at the draft, I called that Justin Herbert would be the best quarterback out of the draft if he were to start. And so far, he's proved me right. Nothing wrong with Joe Burrow and Tua Tagovailoa starting his first game this week. Or no, he's not. The fucking Dolphins have a bye. My bad. Ignore the fact that I just contradicted something I said like literally a few minutes ago. But so Tua will start next week. But what I'm saying is Herbert has been really impressive. I think he's probably the favorite for Offensive Rookie of the Year. I think the award's probably going to come down to him and Justin Jefferson for the finals for that. But Herbert's been really impressive. Jacksonville hasn't really shown many flashes since their initial win. So I have LA winning this one fairly easily, I think. So the next matchup is the primetime one. It's the Seattle Seahawks at the Arizona Cardinals, and I'm actually really excited for this game. As far as I know, Jamal Adams is still out, so that's a big loss for the Seattle defense. And the Cardinals are coming off a huge upset, not a huge upset, but it was an upset how many points they scored and how much of an ass whooping it was against the Cowboys last week. So I have Arizona winning. I have them, taking an upset over the Seahawks. I'm completely sold on the Seahawks. I think they could easily represent the NFC in the Super Bowl, but they need to lose a game, and I think the Cardinals may have a chance at home here. So I'm just going to go with the upset here. I mean, I really could see this going either way. More likely Seahawks winning, but I'm just going to call it and go for an upset. Because there's always upsets. Usually, pretty much every week this year, there's been an upset. So I'm going to call this one right now. So if this happens, you heard it here first, folks. And so the last game of the week is the Monday night game. It is between the Chicago Bears and the LA Rams. So this one, I would say, other than the Steelers-Titans, is probably the most even matchup of the week. It's they're two defensive-heavy units. It's just, I don't know. I'm not really sold on either offense, personally, and that's just my opinion. I know I'm offending someone because I have friends that are fans of both teams. I'm sorry, but the thing is, I'm a little bit more sold on the Bears defense as a whole. I think the Bears are going to win this one. I don't think either team winning would be too much of an upset, but I have the Bears continuing their streak. I don't know what they're going to look like later in the season, but for now, I have the Bears winning this one, so I apologize to, you know who you are, my friend who's a Rams fan. I apologize for that, and you're welcome, my friend who's a Bears fan, so I have the Bears winning here. I think it's going to be a pretty good Monday night game. I'm really excited for this one, actually. So, yeah. So, the last thing I want to say before I wrap this video up is I apologize for all the weird, kind of stuttering and cuts and stuff in this video. I'm really tired today. Didn't sleep a lot last night, but I got to get this video out, so I appreciate you bearing with me here. So, I hope you guys did enjoy this video. Be sure to drop a like if you did and subscribe for more. Comment down below what you want to see more on this channel. And, yeah, so I'll see you guys next week for the Week 8 preview, and stay tuned for another video this week. It's going to be pretty interesting. I hope you guys will like it. So, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time. Peace.